Perhaps you have gone on a nature walk in your life, or perhaps as you're driving by in the car on a highway, you just see this vast green richness out there on the side of the road, and you're just wondering, like, what's in that forest, or what is out there in nature, and or perhaps you were sick at a time in your life, or are struggling with a health issue now, and you want to know how this condition could be relieved by natural things, by things that are that, like you, are also alive, and in some way, there's something very comforting about herbs and about the natural world. It doesn't feel artificial, or that it's some sort of freak of nature, but something that is right as rain. And so people get drawn to study herbs because they want to be natural, and they want to take advantage of that richness that's out there, and in the natural world, the tools that seem to be at our feet or just across the street, growing in a lot, or even in the cracks between the sidewalks. I have so many times in my life when I've been traveling and in a city, I have taken advantage of herbs that were growing in inhospitable places, just to shift and revive myself. In fact, I was on the way to give a presentation once and feeling a little sluggish from travel. I just saw this intense bitter herb growing on my way to the venue where I was teaching. And that little, just a little nibble of that herb was enough to wake me up and prepare me for giving that presentation. And so herbs are at our fingertips. They're in our yards. They're in our neighborhoods. They're in the parks, and it's in a way a free gift. And also, there's the more formal clinical study and application of herbs, which we are going to enter into and talk about together. And that's a very exciting thing. My name is John Immel, and here today I'm going to talk about the clinical Ayurvedic herbalist course that we offer at Joyful Belly, a 1-year course in herbalism, and I would say Ayurvedic herbalism. It's a certification course for Ayurvedic herbalists, but it's so much more than that, touching and covering extensively on Western herbs, as well as Chinese herb formulation strategies. And so a very rich and unique, one-of-a-kind offering. So let's talk just a little bit about herbs and why study herbs, because it's not really just about herbs. There's something, the study of herbs is important enough, but the herbs do something more than just reveal themselves. And I want to talk about that, because it turns out that that is really important, a really important reason to study herbs that you may not be aware of. So I've talked a little bit already that herbs provide natural medicine for innumerable ailments. And the world of herbs has a sort of wonderful richness to it. It's sort of medicine that comes alive. We're participating in life when we participate in herbs, because the plants are alive, and they're made of many of the same biochemicals that you and I are made of. And those biochemicals are balanced enough to support life of the plant. And so they're balanced enough to support our life too. There's some reasons, I think, why herbs are often a much more balanced choice than a pharmaceutical. Although I'm not going to say pharmaceuticals are bad. We're not going to go down that route. But what I will say is that one of the most important reasons to take this course is the study of how herbs shift the body. Right? That's what herbs do. They shift your vital energies and they redirect them. And that effect itself makes herbs a teacher. When every time you study an herb and every time you experience an herb, what you're really studying is how the body can be shifted. Whether that shift is happening at the fault of disease or by an herb, whether it's deliberate and you choose it, or whether it is something that is happening to you as a disease process happens to you. In either case, these shifts of the body are what we're actually interested in. We want to know how the body can be shifted in different directions to support health and to minimize disease. So herbs show us how fluids can be moved, how to dry up secretions, how to raise temperature, how to reduce it. Some herbs are building and help strengthen and build tissue. Others are catabolic and reduce tissue. And it's that's the real thing we're interested in, not just the patterns of healing, but the patterns of pathogenesis, the patterns of disease. And so we study herbs to know these health and disease patterns. Is it in disease, we may have irritation, inflammation, oxidation, apoptosis. Apoptosis is programmed cellular death, right? That our cells are programmed to die at the appropriate time. And if they don't, that's cancer, right? So in disease pathology, all of these things are happening. Herbs are going to teach you the natural ebbs and flows of the body. And that's what's really exciting beyond just the herbs themselves. Take, for example, in pneumonia. In pneumonia, the lungs are too moist. There's too much water. Can be many reasons for that. Cardiac insufficiency or irritation in the lungs or a combination of the two. And we have herbs that specifically dry the lungs and move circulation through the lungs, like OSHA, and that's good if you have pneumonia. And then there's herbs that have a similar effect as pneumonia, like marshmallow that would moisten dry lungs, or licorice root, some demulcent that would increase mucus production in the body. And that can give you, in the context of an herb course, that can give you an experience of moistening the lungs without catching pneumonia, right? And so we're learning those different ebbs and flows of the body. So with this course, again, not just about studying herbs, but about studying pathogenesis, about studying body awareness and your natural relationship with the world around you, the physical world around you, the food and herbs, and your body's relationship to them. So for those reasons, because herbs are such great medicinal tools, and because they're such great teachers of body awareness, knowledge of herbs is an essential step in the training of a master clinician. And I'll even say that's what we all do after we graduate from any kind of health program. I can tell you that when I graduated from Ayurveda school, the first thing that I did was start studying pharmacology of herbs and recipes and food and lifestyle choices. And so in a way, every healer is on the path to becoming an herbalist. But this course is going to do that in a structured, comprehensive way, so that you can feel confident in your knowledge, that you're not missing anything. And that's a great thing. Of course, it's a never-ending study, but there won't be any big gaps. So what is the course? The course is a rigorous one-year course in herbs. It covers the medicinal use and pharmacology of herbs. It covers the language of healing with herbs. It covers strategies for building herb formulas. Every single week in this course, you will be building multiple herb formulas. And that's going to help build your creativity and confidence. We're going to be combining the herbal energetics of Ayurveda, Chinese, and Greek medicine. I want to talk a little bit about herbal energetics. what we call biocharacteristics. Before the 1650s, the medical world from Great Britain through North Africa, through the entire Middle East, all the way to India, and east to China in traditional Chinese medicine. All of these different geographic areas along the Silk trade routes had a common form of medicine called biocharacteristics, where they would study these basic experiences that they had after eating herbs or eating food, and relate that to health and disease in their body. So some herbs are cooling, some herbs are heating, some are drying, some are moistening, some relax tension, and some stimulate muscles and stimulate muscle tension. And these different basic qualities were translated into entire systems of medicine. And that was the dominant form of medicine for thousands of years. And that ended for most of the world, not in Ayurveda and not in Chinese medicine, but for the West, that ended in the 1650s, when it was sort of thrown out with modern advancements in biochemistry. And these modern advancements in biochemistry were so cool that people were just very excited about it and left the old ideas behind. But those ideas are still relevant. Those ideas are still helpful. And as Joanna pointed out in the pre-call conversation, that she experienced dramatic healing benefits that she did not get from Western medicine through these ancient techniques. And so Ayurveda is an example of a biocharacteristics medicine system, along with Unani Tib, Chinese medicine, and Greek medicine. And so in this course, we are going to be studying herbs the way the way most of the Western, Middle Eastern, and Asian world studied herbs, and the way all of these old textbooks, when you go back to Culpeper and pre-Civil War herbal textbooks, and to the Greek medical textbooks, all the textbooks of Europe use this system of medicine, as I said, all the way through east to Ayurveda and India. And we're going to be focusing on the use of herbs within that medical system, and then relating that to modern phytochemistry. So there are no courses that we know of that combine all of these energetics into a one-year course and present them to you in a complete way. So other courses will teach energetics of herbs. They'll teach the sort of basics of this. And they might talk about, oh, this herb has this energetic, or that herb has that energetic, or these biocharacteristics, but they don't teach pathogenesis of that. They don't teach the way disease forms along those lines. And so it ends up being a sort of superficial course. This course will go much deeper into that, because that is our specialty at Joyful Belly. That is, we're coming from the Ayurvedic tradition, and so we bring that focus to the world of herbs. And for that reason, this course will be the most advanced Ayurvedic herbalist course, as well as the most advanced course in herbal energetics that we know of. So we are going to be studying herbalism the way it actually developed. Right, the way the knowledge of herbs were developed in those societies and in those cultures, and mapping the experience of the herbs to the herb pharmacology. And I think that's very exciting, because it is not only a vast depth of knowledge, but it's also a very intuitive way of learning. Normally, herb courses are taught where, and especially in Ayurveda, they will teach the herbs in this huge list where you just, it's like a dizzying array of herbs, where you're reading in a textbook, and on page 42, you're learning about ashwagandha And then you turn the next page and you're learning about Harataki. And by the time you get to the middle of the page on Harataki, you forgot everything you learned about ashwagandha, right? That's because if you just try to approach learning herbs as just one after the other in this big list, normally in a long alphabetical list, it's like trying to make your brain into a database. And that's just not the way our human brains work, right? We don't learn like databases learn, or we don't store information the way a database does. We learn things in a more intuitive fashion. And so this way, or this method of learning herbs is a more natural and humanistic approach to herbalism. So learning the herbs in alphabetical order is not the natural way to learn herbs. Instead, how do people actually learn herbs? Well, first of all, we have to know, and everyone should know, that you're already wired to understand herbs through your five senses. It's in our DNA, right? It's our shared human experience is being in a world of plants. And so we have untold generations of experience in relating to these living plants around us. And so the first part of actually learning herbs is examining every part of the plant. And that's something that we can do really only in an online course. Is that possible? Unless you have an herb garden with every single herb in it and you can fit 50 students into your herb garden and get them all next to the plant, which is almost impossible, you can't really get to see the entire plant. And then, you'd have to pull it up and examine the root and all that. It's hard. But in an online course, we can show you every part of the plant. We can show you the roots. We can show you them up close, zoomed in. We can show you the leaves, the flowers, the whole plant. You'd be amazed about how much easier it is to learn herbs when you can actually see the entire herb. And so we will be showing you and providing that ability to examine every part of the plant. Here's an example, by the way, two herbs here. You can see Arjuna. Look at the roots of this Arjuna tree. And compare that with the roots of Shatavari. Now, Shatavari is a moistening herb, and Arjuna is a drying herb, an astringent. And you could just see that by looking at these two photos. To me, that's intuitive and instinctive. The one on the right looks nourishing, building, moistening, and the one on the left looks almost like dry bones, right? So seeing is really important when you're learning herbs. Tasting the herb, very important. So one of the first assignments in this course is an assignment for you to purchase an herb kit and have all of those herbs in your house so that you can taste them while you're learning about them. That's very important when you are learning herbs. We will be experimenting with these herbs as a class, comparing notes and results, and discovering pharmacology while we study it. We've been doing that at Joyful Belly for 15 years. We've been educating Ayurvedic clinicians, and we've been doing it with an experiential approach. And I think that anyone who's taken any one of our courses can testify to the power of that approach. We are going to be studying these herbs by learning their herbal energetics, their biocharacteristics, the heat, the cold, but much more deeply than that. And that's going to develop your intuition and body awareness of the herbs. We are going to study the herbs organized by medicinal action, not by alphabet. This course is structured along two main lines. One, we will be studying organ system by organ system, but alongside that, we're also going to be studying the 27 main classes of herbal actions. So herbs that drain water, for example, herbs that relax muscle tension. And then we're going to study all the herbs in those categories comparing them one to another so that it becomes, and then instead of learning an herb page by page, we're going to be looking at a chart of herbs and comparing them and contrasting them so that you can easily know which one to pick given a particular client and constitution and disorder. We're going to be learning plant history. The folklore of the herb is also pretty important to learning the herb. I said already that we are going to be mastering the herbs for each organ system, and we're going to do that by comparison. Instead of memorization of a list of herbs, we're going to be comparing them and contrasting them. That's very important. What we're looking for is not so much that you learn a bunch of herbal recipes, but that you become an herbal chef. There's a difference between someone who knows a recipe and a chef. A chef knows how to use the knowledge creatively, who knows how to tailor the recipe to the person. That's what we're aiming for. So we're going to be building this intuitive knowledge in a relational way, comparing the herbs one against the other, and all of that will help imprint the herb, not through memorization, but through imprinting the herb. You will an experience, you will know it. In this course, you're never going to hear something like, this such and such herb is good for the liver, because one person may have an oily liver and one person may have a dry liver. So what does it mean to say the herb is good for the liver? Can it fix? Some herbs make moisten the liver, and some herbs dry it. Some herbs clear it, and so yes, there are very few herbs that have what I would call an adaptogenic effect, that they could go in both directions. But that's the exception, not the rule. Most of the time, each herb has a specific action on the liver, and it's only good for a specific set of diseases. But the tendency is, when you go to a vitamin store or a nutraceutical store or a grocery store that sells some herbal products, is that you see these general statements like, this formula is good for the lungs or good for the heart. And that when you see phrases like that, usually you know somebody's trying to sell you something, right? Because they're trying to make it appealing to as many people as possible. They don't always have the client's interest in mind. So herbs aren't just good for the liver. They have a specific action, which may be good or bad depending on the person. Let's give an example. Amalaki and Bumi Amalaki are both good herbs for the liver, but one moves the liver via sour taste. One moves the liver via bitter taste. So I would use these herbs in very different constitutions. Bumi Amalaki I would use in a more congested constitution, and Amalaki I would use in a more deficient constitution. And so we need to get to that level of nuance. Let's look at some more examples here. Gakshora is a cold reproductive tonic for men. Ashwagandha is a hot reproductive tonic. Shatavari is a cold reproductive tonic for women. And Ashoka is also cold, but it's not really a tonic in the same way. It's often called a tonic, but Ashoka is more reducing instead of building. So it tonifies in the sense of revitalizing the reproductive organs, but not a tonic in the sense of building and strengthening. So those are nuances that we need to cover so that we can choose the right herb accurately. Good. One of the things that we'll be covering in this course is Ayurveda's perspective on Western herbs, so that we know how to classify them, that we can look at, and also the Chinese medicine, that we can know the characteristics of the herb beyond just the phytochemicals and constituents. All right, so mastering each organ system, important. Each different class of herbal action. I mentioned before that we'll be studying 27 different kinds of herbal actions that are canonical. Each of these different herbal actions affects many organ systems. So we have to look at the organ systems, and we have to look at the individual specific actions and their effects on the whole body. So that's why this course takes 2 tracks, organ by organ, action by action. And we're going to do those in parallel. The 3rd track is studying specific herbs in detail. So each week we will present in great detail a single herb, right? So instead of trying to do 30 herbs sort of halfway, what we're going to do is we will look at maybe 30 herbs a week, but we're going to do one in great depth. And that is the sort of ocean in a drop method, right? Where if you know one thing very, very well, it establishes a foundation for understanding everything else. And that's the idea of seeing the ocean in a drop. So we're going to zoom in to detail, and then we're going to zoom out to perspective. And both of those are important, right? We're going to build knowledge bottom up, and we're going to build knowledge top down. And hopefully by the end of the course, we'll meet in the middle, right? Dovetailing the entire time between intuition and phytochemistry, right? We're not going to sort of look down with contempt on science. We're not. There's no politics in the course, right? What we want is the best of science, the best of Western medicine, the best of Chinese medicine, Ayurveda, and we want to create a vision for the client's whole health. That's what we're after, right? Our 5 senses, the senses and science, confidence and accuracy, intuition and phytochemistry, and disease processes, herbal mechanisms. We're looking to tackle it all. So you can see this course will be a challenging course in many ways. But also we're looking to build that knowledge in a step-by-step natural fashion so that it doesn't feel like just stuffing your brain with a bunch of knick-knack ideas. Does that make sense? We are marching forward in a structured way so that you can retain the knowledge because it makes sense. The materia medica of the course is 125 herbs and formulations from Ayurveda. And then on top of that, extensive knowledge of the main Western herbs. There's about 75 to 100 main Western herbs that we'll be studying as well, and then essential herbs of Chinese medicine. So a broad materia medica. These Western herbs you're going to be encountering all the time if you're practicing in the Americas or Europe, and then the Ayurvedic herbs is important to study those for your Ayurveda herbal certification, so that you can understand the traditional use, and that allows you to build that bridge to using the Western herbs in a similar manner. All right, good. We've talked about this. We talked about constitution. We've talked about we haven't talked about medicine making. Part of the course, you will also be making herbal products. So each week you'll have experiments with either tasting and sampling an herb, or making an herbal product. That will include poultices, skin rubs, medical oils, tinctures, infusions. Some weeks we'll be doing botanical field work, which means you will go into the woods, or a field, or some part of your lawn where there's a wild plant growing. If any wild plant, and you will go and do some field work examining it, sitting with it, and observing it. and then learning some of its characteristics just from that process. We'll also, as I mentioned, be ordering and sampling these herbs. All right, great. Let me, I'll summarize that. The basic curriculum of the course is each week one, we'll be studying an organ system. Each week, we will study a specific herbal action. We'll study one herb in detail and numerous herbs by summary. And we'll also be tasting and sampling herbs, as well as going into our local environment and observing the herbs. The herbs will include the intuitive component and the phytochemistry. I mentioned that already. They'll be each week, we will present a live in-class herbal consultation, and you will do 18 private clinical consultations on your own. We will teach you how to observe legal limits to your herbal practice, as well as herb-drug interactions and contraindications. All right, our goals are: number one, to make you the master herbalist in your community. Every community needs one. Herbs remain the chosen form of medicine for 2/3 of the world. And it is a rapidly growing field here in the United States. And you can check out on the Joyful Belly website some of the career options for herbalists. So our goal is that by the time you graduate from this course, you will be an herbal chef in a way, that you will be creative, in your clinical practice, blending herbal formulas that are effective and lead to good clinical outcomes. That you will start seeing, because of your understanding of the herbs, that you will know your body well and the body of your clients well, so that you can see clinical patterns emerge and gain that expertise you need to provide medicine that heals. Our second goal in the course is to establish diet and herbs as the standard for home and quality of life care. That the method that we're teaching is something anyone can learn. Right? So typically, here's the thing that happens in alternative medicine is that, and you see this all the time in various herb courses, you see it in Ayurveda as well, that they always have to bundle something exotic, something sensational in every single course in alternative medicine. And so you'll see some herb courses, they're talking about herbal shamans and witches, and or they have some cosmic spiritual perspective that they're bundling into it, and they're trying to sensationalize it in some way and make it something fantastic. And herbs are just fantastic on their own, right? The body is vast on its own without the need to sort of bundle in something exotic into it. So that's, people get very excited about learning herbs from the Amazon jungle, like acai, or from Japan, goji berries, or herbs that are seemingly from some other side of the world, whatever side of the world you're living on. And so in alternative medicine, it's often seems like it's big pharma that's trying to keep alternative medicine from becoming a standard. But oftentimes it's the practitioners themselves who are trying to maintain an identity apart from the community. They know that if herbalism becomes a standard, maybe their school will go out of business, and they're afraid of that, or something like that. So they rarely present herbs in a very simple, wholesome, easy, intuitive way. And so our promise at the Joyful Belly School is that we will bring nature to your doorstep. We will make it familiar. We will make it usable. We will make it clinical, and we will give you these tools to make healing in your community simple. And I think that is that's a great That's a great and amazing gift that biocharacteristics medicine systems offer, is a vast richness of clinical knowledge, and it's applied in a very intuitive way. So people who want to become healers, they have to, in a way, they end up having to study herbs. They end up having to study foods, but instead of doing it on their own in a haphazard way, this course will present it in a comprehensive and structured way so that so that you have that confidence. All right, who is this course for? This course is for Ayurvedic professionals who want to broaden their understanding of Ayurvedic, the Ayurvedic approach to herbs. So Ayurvedic professionals may already have some knowledge of Ayurvedic herbs, but this course will bring to them the Chinese herbal formulation strategies and also the Ayurvedic approach to Western herbs in a much deeper way than they have studied in the past. So everyone from Ayurvedic health counselors to BIMS graduates could benefit from that. Any Ayurveda student seeking their Ayurveda practitioner level certification at Joyful Belly is required to take this course as a prerequisite. This course is for herbalists and enthusiasts who wish to excel at formulations and know herbal energetics at a whole new level. It's for naturopaths, nutritionists, nurses, yoga teachers, massage therapists, and other health and wellness professionals who want a solid foundation in clinical herbalism. I want to talk just a little bit about the kind of students that typically enroll in our courses and how we support them. Our students are often leaders in their community with very busy lives. They're usually people who have a high degree of motivation, and they are looking to excel. And so it turns out that our typical student is a very busy person, and for that reason, they may feel like, do I have enough time to take the course, or can this course work with my schedule? That is a question that our students often have, and what I'm going to say to that is, we know that you're a busy person, and we know that that your schedule is already full. Kids, jobs, maybe taking care of an aging parent, are all happening in your schedule. And I'm just going to say, like, I'm right there with you. I have 6 kids, and my 4 youngest children are 5 and under. So we've got a household of little ones, and it's great. It's a great thing. It's a lot of fun, and also my schedule is demanding too. So that's why we designed the course this way. 1, it's an online course so that it's convenient for you. 2, you will spend 40% of the time in this course in reading from just master herbalist texts. You'll spend about 30% of the time in this course doing the active learning homework exercises, and about 30% in live classes. Now, the 40%, excuse me, that's 70% of your time is really on your schedule when it's convenient for you. The reading in the course is something that you can do lying in bed in the morning when you, or in bed at night before going to sleep. In other words, you can accomplish those sections of the course in on your own time, on your own schedule, and at your own pace. Each week there'll be assignments that are due 10 days later, but within that, you can choose your schedule, and then we'll meet 3 times each week to discuss the results of your learning together. So during that portion, it'll be 3 hour-and-a-half long classes each week, scattered in different time zones, and every class recorded for our students that have busy lives and schedule conflicts. And then finally, our student support team is accessible and can give you extensions if anything comes up in your life, so that this course works around your schedule, not just you working around the course's schedule. I'll also mention that we have many breaks in the program. So when we're on weeks that we're studying, the course is demanding 12 to 13 hours a week on average, and um, and then we'll do that for a few weeks, and then there'll be another break. So every 3 to 4 weeks, there's a break in the course, and you get to catch up. This course should not interfere with any family vacations or other plans you have. Number one, we have ample breaks around holiday times, and two, if you have a vacation scheduled or something comes up at work, just send our team a request for an extension, and you can jump back in when you get back. The great thing about learning these herbs, organ system by organ system, and by herbal action, is that it's not exactly linear. Like you could do week 4 at after week 6. It doesn't necessarily have to go in week 4, 5, 6, right? So it's pretty easy for us to accommodate some personal scheduling issues that we might have, and that should hopefully give the students one. They know we are not sacrificing anything in their education, that we are giving them a good education. My personal university background, I was a student of computer science and mathematics at Harvard University back in the early 90s. After I graduated, I got into health and wellness and lived overseas for many years, and then studied Ayurveda, and have been running Joyful Belly for 15 years as part of my practice. Why do I mention that? Is that Harvard background just shows you that it's just, I'm going to give you a comprehensive, good, rigorous education, but it's also going to be flexible because I know that you're busy, and I know that you have a lot going on in your life because you're probably a pretty motivated person. Great. So let's see. Let me jump forward here. Faculty: Peter Holmes, famous author who wrote The Energetics of Western Herbs. He will be teaching this course. I will be teaching the course. I'm the director of Joyful Belly, and my background is in Ayurveda, as I mentioned. Some leading Ayurvedic teachers in the profession: Jeremy Anderson, Alyssa Page, Sandhya Ramaswamy, and Ayurveda BIMS trained teacher from India, Vanashri Belgamwar, will be teaching the course also. So these are part of Joyful Belly faculty, and they will be key teachers in the course. Some other supporting teachers we will include occasionally botanists and other folks as needed. All right, good. After you graduate from this course, AABC, the American Association of Biocharacteristics Clinicians, will certify you as an Ayurvedic herbalist and a biocharacteristics herbalist. One thing which I want to mention about the Joyful Belly School, among other herb schools, is that we have a people focus. I just want to say that many herb schools, they really prefer being in the forest to the clinic. I've seen this among many herbalists. They can be self-isolating, become a hermit. They love to learn about the plants, but not as dedicated to clinic. And in this course, our course will be ultimately a people focus, that we will be learning and enjoying and discovering the plants, but for the purpose of great clinical outcomes. We're about the delivery of medicine, building clinical intuition, providing a structure for thinking about herbs clinically. your clients and other professionals expect you to own your knowledge. They want you to know their symptoms and their disorders through and through, that you can speak intelligently and comprehensively. So the smart students know the devil's in the details, and so we're going to present those details again in a natural way, right? So this course, there's a lot of herb schools out there where it's like, take this herb course, it's your next cosmic life experience. Joyful Belly's not, we're not like the next school on the hippie highway or hippie trail. We're for people who want to learn clinical medicine. You're going to grow through this course. It's going to be difficult at times. There'll be obstacles, some days where you feel like your brain's exploding, but it'll be fun, it'll be adventurous, and an amazing result. So I talked a little bit about that, times, breaks. All right, good. So that's the basics of the course. I've given you an overview of the curriculum. I've given you an overview of the time. The course starts the last week of August, and it goes through the second week of June. The tuition fee for the whole program is $4,499. You can get $850 scholarship towards your tuition if you register by Wednesday. So, so take advantage of that. If you are going to study in this course, take advantage of that and save $850 by getting that scholarship. If you register by Wednesday, there are monthly payment plans available. It's $250 a month. There's no charge for that monthly payment plan at all. So take advantage of that for $250, which is the cost of groceries per month. In fact, groceries these days maybe even be more expensive. It keeps going up. But for around the price of groceries, you can have a tremendous, amazing herbal education that will last a lifetime for you and your family. I want to say that if you do, you can get an additional $250 discount by paying the entire tuition before the first day of class. But I know it's a big decision, right? It's a big decision. This course is a big decision. People sometimes say, oh, it's a lot of money, but it really the investment is a lot of time. That's the thing is, do you have that calling to be an herbalist, to know that natural world around you at that deeper bodily, relational, clinical, medicinal depth? Do you have that calling to do that? And if you do, then the time is a joyous investment, right? It's something that that we can get excited about and learn and feel like, we know the natural world around us at a much deeper level. And that's very exciting to a person that has that calling. And so I know it's a big decision. Typically our students, it's either finances, time to take the course, or support from someone that close to them, a spouse. They need to get their spouse on board. You might be excited about it, but maybe someone else that is important in your life that you love also needs to be on board. If if any of those issues are ones that are obstacles to enrolling, just text me, and I can talk a little bit more specifically about that and work with you and find a way to make it work, to talk about to talk about the course a little more and what you can do with it, career goals and things like that. Oftentimes, if a spouse is not quite on board yet, it's because they don't really know your vision for applying the knowledge, right? How are you going to make this practical, right? That's the question that people around you often want to know. And I can help answer that question for your spouse, by giving you the information you need to communicate, and then build that confidence. So feel free to text me also to ask any questions you have about the course. I love to talk to each of you individually. I I really enjoy talking to prospective students because you like the same things I do, and that's always fun. And as I said, our students are generally pretty motivated, very interesting people. So please reach out, and we can meet one another, and I'll answer any questions that you have about the program. So thank you again. I want to thank you on a few different levels here. One, for coming and being interested in Joyful Belly, and that's great. But even greater than that is your interest in health. That you are so fascinated and eager and enthusiastic to live healthier, to feel better, to bring that to your community. That is a great gift. People always say that disease is contagious, but health is also contagious. When people in your community see that your health is improving and see how vital you are and your energy, they get excited too, and they start to get interested in what you have to offer. What's your secret, right? That's what they want to know. What's your secret? So health is contagious, and so hopefully you learned something or two in today's talk. I try to pepper little facts in there along the way, and even just an approach to learning herbalism, if nothing else. What do you need to do to learn herbs? Hopefully, you're you've gotten some insights into that. So with that, I will take any questions. I see some questions coming up in the chat. So let me take a look and answer them. Also, you can unmute your line and ask a question over voice if you like. All right, good. Halian says, hi, John, I have a few questions. Can you give an example of pathogenesis of energetics of the herb? Okay, good. So great question. I'm glad you asked it because I really didn't go over it. Halian, let's take a look at what Vata dosha is. The doshas are the different constitutions in Ayurveda. Vata dosha is characterized by deficiency, Pitta by heat, and Kapha is characterized by congestion and excess, right? So let's take an example. Let's take a look at what Vata is. Vata is dry, light, cold, rough, subtle, mobile, right? Tatra ruksha lagu shita kara sukshmas chalo nilaha. That's the ancient shloka, the ancient Sanskrit definition of Vata: dry, light, cold, rough, subtle, mobile. And so let's look into that definition a little more. What they're really saying is dryness causes lightness, and lightness causes coldness, and coldness causes dryness, and coldness causes lightness, right? So there's not just a biochemical pathogenesis in the body, but a biocharacteristic pathogenesis in the body. Let's peel back a few more layers to that. When a person gets cold, what happens is all the capillary beds in their skin tighten to reduce blood flow to the skin. Because if you reduce blood flow to the skin, you reduce heat loss, right? All right. So when the skin is the largest organ in your body, if all the capillary beds in your entire skin, the largest organ, tighten, what does that do to blood pressure? Well, the tightening of blood vessels is like squeezing a balloon. And when you squeeze a balloon, the pressure goes up inside the balloon. So if you looked at your whole entire blood vessel system as a balloon with a sort of different shape than a normal balloon, but still nevertheless a sac in a way, when you squeeze all the capillary beds, you raise the blood pressure in the body. As soon as you raise the blood pressure in the body, the kidneys naturally kick in to normalize blood pressure. And what do? They begin taking water out of the bloodstream in order to reduce pressure inside the balloon. And then they pee it out. So what does that mean? It means getting cold makes you dry. All right. And then when you pee out the water, weighs a lot. So that makes you lighter also, right? You pee out 2 pounds of water, you're 2 pounds lighter. So coldness creates dryness, which creates lightness. The Ayurveda gives a name to the sort of pathogenesis of these qualities, pathogenesis of these biocharacteristics. That name is Vata, Vata dosha. Vata dosha is itself a name for a pathogenesis of different biocharacteristics. So, Halion, that is just one example. We can talk about things like dryness creating heat as well. And that or we can talk about oiliness in the body creating heat, or heat creating sourness, and all of that is a pathogenesis of energetics. And without really understanding how the biocharacteristics cause one another, we can't really get to the root cause. Yeah, great. So, Haley, it sounds like you have some background in Ayurveda. You get it. Makes sense. Okay, good, good. So that's what's missing in Western herbal energetics right now. So Western herbalists will be like, yeah, yeah, I got that. I got that energetics. Yeah, yeah. But they don't, because they don't see, they haven't learned how one biocharacteristic creates another. That's really important. That is really important work. All right. So are all 3 tracks done in the 10 months? Yes. Yes, you will. Each week, we will progress in the organ system, the herbal action, and the details of a particular herb. And then at the end, you will complete those 3 tracks. You may still be doing some clinical consultation sessions even after classes end to finish up the clinical portion. But that is very much at your own time. And yeah, the readings are not online. There is extensive readings in the course. That's what's that is an extensive portion of the course, and that has an extensive cost to it too. I think the books in the course come to something like about $600, and then the herbs will another 100 or 150, somewhere in that ballpark. There's not a PDF option for the books. You would have to order them. You could, if you're traveling. I'm wondering if you're traveling or something like that. If you're asking that, if it's, and that there, you will be able to buy the books one at a time as we go through them. We're not going to be reading all of them at the same time. So that way you could not have to necessarily travel with a huge backpack of books. But you're going to love those books anyway. So I would highly recommend them. And because you're going to be using them for reference and all that probably for years and years to come. All right, good. Jasmine, one question about the tuition. Is there a registration fee? The registration fee is bundled into the 4,499. So the first 600 of that is registration. So you just sign up with the monthly payment plan of $250 a month, and that covers everything. So there's no separate registration from the monthly payment. So you don't have to like pay 600 and a 250 a month fee or anything like that. It's just the 250 a month fee. Is it okay to take this herbalist course parallel to AHC? Sabrina, we always welcome ambitious students to jump in with both feet. When I was a freshman at Harvard, my advisor told me, John, you don't take those courses together, but if you want to do it, I'll let you, And I was like, thank you. And I did. I jumped in and tackled it. And I have to say that, like, I really struggled the first 2 or 3 months, but then I leaped forward past all my peers. And by the time I was a junior at Harvard, I was invited to be a teaching fellow, and there were like no other undergrads being a teaching fellow at the school at that time. And like I was basically a teaching fellow for my, in the for students that were in my class year. And so, I'm just not going to hold anyone back. But I'm also going to say, Sabrina, like, I'm just going to tell you what my advisor told me. You think you got it. So, yeah. And yeah, let's see what okay, one question I have is okay, I got that question. And do you have to pay before receiving the option to fill out and send the application? How long does the application interview process take? Okay, so Nicole, the application doesn't take that long. It's about like 2 hours for you to fill out the application. You got to order a transcript from either your high school or college. Should be like $20, $25 online. They'll send it. They can send it to your house and then scan it and print it and then send us a copy. But so the application is not this extensive, long process. We just need to know we're a state licensed school, and we need to know that the state requires us and requires our students to provide some documentation of their ability to benefit. And also we just want to make sure that you have some experience in health and wellness, before you're jumping into the course, or that you have at least a plan around that. So if you have taken an Ayurveda course before, or an herbalist course, or a yoga course, or a massage therapist, or just that you have some understanding of the body and its processes, is going to be helpful for this course. And if you don't, then I will show you how to get there before day one of the course. So that's really what we're looking for in that. Nicole, if your application is denied for any reason, we will refund your entire registration fee. So it's not something you have to worry about at all. If your application is denied, will you lose any money or anything like that? And the answer to that is absolutely not. If we deny your application, we will refund everything. So does that answer your question, Nicole? Or do you have is there any other question you have about it? Okay, good. April, this presentation has been great. Thank you. Will this certification really stand alone without the Ayurveda practitioner certification? I'm super into Ayurveda just for myself, but I'm thinking this could be a good career path since I'm already studying it. However, I would not be able to complete an Ayurveda or integrative medicine certification anytime soon. So yeah, so April, the course is not going to teach you all of Ayurvedic's approach to the body. It's a course specializing in herbs. Will it stand alone? Yes, I think you will have more and deeper training than many, many other herb schools out there, and in a much more intuitive and natural learning fashion. So yes, it will stand alone. But having said that, there's more to Ayurveda than you will learn in this herb course, and there's more to and also even at the practitioner level. There's so the students at our program spend 2 years in the Ayurveda Health Counselor course, which is really the minimum for learning the field of Ayurveda. I would not try to jam it into some, 1-year program. And then the 2 years for the practitioner level certification is this course is the first year of the practitioner level certification. And the second year is a deeper study of the classical texts. So you do not need an Ayurveda practitioner certification to see clients or any other training like it. That is Ayurveda is a unlicensed field in the United States, and so there is no there's no regulation around that. But what you do need to know before you start a clinical practice is that you have so you're not going to hurt your clients, right? And so that is that's important. And there were some folks that tried to license Ayurveda a few years ago, but the state turned it down because it wasn't dangerous enough. They weren't hurting enough people to warrant a license. And so that should give you some comfort. And yeah, that should give you some comfort. But yeah, you will know herbs well, and you will be learning a ton of disease pathology in the course. So in the Ayurveda Health Counselor level course, you learn about Ayurveda, but you don't go into individual disease pathology in depth. That's what's missing from at the Ayurveda Health Counselor level training. So at the Ayurveda practitioner level training, you get training in disease pathology. And so this course will be giving you that training in disease pathology as well as the herbs. So yeah, hopefully that helps. Any other questions about that, April? Jan Marie, do you plan to send a replay? I wasn't able to catch the first part of the presentation. Yeah, Jen, I'll send out a recording tomorrow. I'll be happy to do that. I also want to tell all of you that tomorrow, that on Wednesday night, Peter Holmes, one of our faculty members, is offering a free presentation at the American Association of Biocharacteristics Clinicians on pelvic blood congestion, which is basically addressing disorders of estrogen dominance and blood stagnation in the which is uterine fibroids, dysmenorrhea, menstrual congestion, and the like. So benign prostate hyperplasia in men. So this disorders that result from pelvic blood stagnation and congestion. He'll be giving a free presentation on that Wednesday night. So that's very exciting. And we'll be sending out details about that. All right, Nicole, you said if you want the payment plan of $250 per month, but want to prepay a portion of the tuition, that will lower the monthly payment. Yeah. So if you prepay a portion, Nicole, I'll just we'll ratchet the monthly payment down accordingly. Basically, our goal is just that you finish your payments by the time you finish the course. And so if you prepay up front, we'll lower the payments for you. April, sorry, I couldn't type fast enough. You did mention using the client's constitution was important. So how would we properly identify the client's dosha without being a proper Ayurveda practitioner? Good question, April. Good question. So, yeah, so it depends on what level you're going at it, right? So a person who has an Ayurvedic training is going to be more precise with addressing root causes because they'll be able to go earlier in the pathogenesis. They will be able to identify. So when you see a person with a skin rash, you will be properly treating the heat in the skin rash, and you'll know that because that's pretty obvious that that's heat and not a cold condition, right? And so, but an Ayurveda practitioner would be able to see that like 3 steps earlier in the pathogenesis, and then be able to really chop that more at the root. So that's where that increased accuracy will come from that training. And people who are Ayurveda health counselors that don't take the herb course will not have the tools that you have. And so they will, but they will be seeing clients with the tools that they have. And so this is the case for every medical practitioner. I'll tell you, April, none of us feel like we know it all or that even totally confident. We have medical doctors that take our course and they're like, they feel like they know nothing when they take our course. And I can tell you that when I'm going to a Western medical doctor, sometimes I feel like I don't know anything compared to them, right? So you will come across people all the time that will, sort of make you feel like you don't know enough. And I tell this to our students all the time, that one, we offer incredible depth of education. Two, our students still feel, they still get their cage rattled at times by other people. And sometimes I get my underconfidence. Sometimes my confidence is taken from me also. And that is just natural to a person who has great curiosity and who really wants to learn. But I'll share with you a quote from my herbal teacher. On the very first herb walk that I did with him, he spent about 15 minutes talking about a dandelion. And he said, he looked at all of us and he said, you now know more about herbs than 99% of the population after that 15-minute talk. And you could spend your whole entire life teaching people the effective use of this dandelion herb, and you would never run out of people to help. And I just want to say that that has rung true for me my entire clinical life. The first day that I graduated from Ayurveda school, I helped people. And I'm still helping people. And so does that mean that I know everything that every other person knows? No, I can tell you that probably each one of you knows some health thing that I don't know. But I also know and have a great deal of knowledge and perspective from running the Joyful Belly School for 15 years. And I can tell you that you will have a vast tool set from taking the course.
I have a question, John.
Yes.
So I'm kind of new to Ayurveda. So,
Yes.
but I have seen a bunch of dandelions over I live by dandelions grow in the most randomest places. And
Yeah.
yeah, I didn't even know they were beneficial to your health until I seen this weed commercial. This guy had posted this weed. It was like a weed killing commercial, and they showed the guy killing the weeds, and then the guy paused the video and he just started giving these facts about how dandelions are actually beneficial to us. We shouldn't be just putting weed killer on it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
So
Absolutely. And
yeah.
yeah, most of the weeds that are growing on people's lawns are actually pretty beneficial herbs. Like plantain and dandelion are two of the most common weeds on people's lawns, and they're just two awesome medicinal herbs. Lamb's quarters. I could just go on and on. Oxeye daisies and mugwort, and just all of these meadow herbs that are very powerful, awesome herbs just growing within 20 feet of people's homes. There are probably 7 or 8 medicinal herbs, if not more. If I go on a plant walk, like if I just go take a stroll in my neighborhood on a 700 or 1,000-foot walk, I'll see 40 herbs, easy. 40 different medicinal herbs. Yeah. So I used to lead camping trips. I really want to get that going again. I used to lead camping trips where I would take people for 3-day herb walks, and we would sample about 130 different herbs on that walk, and learn and discuss them. It was awesome. Everyone felt great. 3 days out in the woods in these awesome Appalachian mountains in Western North Carolina, where I live, and it's beautiful, totally revitalizing. And people came they're go to sleep at night and dream about herbs all night. It was pretty transformational to have that time, dedicated time outdoors, learning right from the source where they're growing.
Yeah. As a new graduate from an Ayurvedic course, how is it getting clients?
How is it getting clients? Okay, well, that's the business of Ayurveda is a whole nother topic. And I think and this is one of the reasons why we don't run the Joyful Belly School as a kind of like, you know, you can go to a certain school and then, you know, it's hard to tell the difference between an Ayurveda practitioner and an astrologer or something along those lines. And a lot of times, you know, what people, when people are looking for a clinical practice, what we have to remember is that our clients are just trying to fix their diseases, right? Like they want transformation, they want to heal, but they also want to know that they're spending their money on something that is reliable and credible, that it's not a waste of, you know, their $90 or $120 that they're coming to see you. And so it's really important that you that when you go out and begin to practice, that you are respectful of your clients, you know, need to see that credibility and to so that's important. So we teach our students how to project themselves in a credible way. One, two, um, uh, the second thing is that we have to speak in the language that the client speaks. So one of the things that happens in health and wellness is that people get so excited about some really powerful, great tool set that they have. Like Ayurveda is wonderful. It is powerful. It is really great. And so then what happens is that people are talking about how great it is, but the client is not as interested in Ayurveda as they are about their disease. So that's really important in your marketing, that when you're projecting yourself out there to clients, that you're telling them like, I heal stomach conditions, or I specialize in diabetes, or that you present that you address the problem that they're having in the terms that they describe it. So, yeah, so that is, so that's important. And we do teach our students the business of being a health and wellness practitioner, and some basic tips that will really just save people years of frustration. So it's not hard to find clients when you're addressing a problem. Let's remember that people spend more on health and wellness than they do on Western medicine. Worldwide, global expenditures on so-called alternative medicine are greater than global expenditures on Western medicine. And we should just remember that, there are trillions of dollars in the health and wellness space. And there's just no reason why a person can't find clients as long as they are promoting a service to the client instead of promoting their passion project. You know, I'll say more of that in the course, but that's important. It's important to know how to market yourself.
Okay. Thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome. Somebody's got these nice wind chimes in the background. It's like a nice background music for
Just me.
for the talk. Okay, all right. Nice. So good. Any other questions? All right, well, good. Text me if you have any other questions. And I'm happy to talk. I look forward to seeing you in the course, and to learning with you. So have a wonderful rest of your evening, everyone, and come to that presentation on pelvic blood congestion by Peter Holmes on Wednesday, and hope to see you there. All right, take care, everyone. Oh, if you want to register for that before the announcement comes out, just go to biocharacteristics.org. And that's the American Association of Biocharacteristics Clinicians, and click on workshops and you'll be able to register for it right there. All right, have a good night, everyone.